I want to ask you when it comes to the problem, because in this way you also identify the problem you're dealing with, right? When you share this message with people, you're identifying their problem, but also is the problem you're helping people with. And is there a, because some people, I'm going to tell you how it was for me and also for other people I work with, who wants to create really strong practice. They know that they want to position themselves with this famous quote of the $1 million problem, you know. But how actually you do that? How do you identify the problem? That's I think a question which it's $1 million question.
Yes. And I'm glad you asked, because literally I was like, as you're talking, I'm like, ooh, this is, if you're listening, if you're watching, like, if you just got
Yeah.
this one thing, I promise you, you out there in Camerland, like on the other side, if you get this one thing, this is the $1 million, not exaggerating. I can't say I'm a multimillionaire, but like, if you create this, you don't have to do any scammy, salesy, pushy, businessy crap you hate. You don't have to do any of that if you get this one thing, which is what you just asked about, Dimi.
Yeah.
The $1 million, like basically, how do you solve $1 million need? Okay. Start with that. Like the keyword need. Find a need. Now, what most people do is they say, I don't know, my name's, let's just take her name's Deborah. So I'm Deborah, and I love talking about self-love and compassion. And like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Deborah, if you're named Deborah, like, or let's just take John. Like, I'm
Yeah.
John, and I love, optimizing the human psychology for peak performance.
Yeah.
And I see this all the time, and I see brands and Instagram and YouTube, and I'm like, what is okay?
What
Why?
is that?
Like, what is that? Why? Okay, like I'm the human optimization expert. I'm the and I'll pick on my own field. I'm an NLP expert. I'm a master trainer of NLP and a hypnotherapist,
And
and
what?
I'm a law of attraction manifestation expert. I'm a coach. Let me help you
Yeah.
manifest your dreams and desires. Like
Yeah.
it's just so over people's head. You'll get a few clients here and there who love you, who like you, trust you,
The energy. Yeah.
just because they like you.
Yeah.
But you're never going to make a full-time thriving business. So right now, just for context, we live in, again, I mentioned this, it's called the knowledge economy. What used to be like the physical economy of like I mean, of course, there's still physical products, right? But it used to be like the industrial age is like, cool, the steel industry and created this cool new gadget and this cool new thing. And this is like, everyone in the world needs to have this new. I just watched this whole documentary about the invention of windshield wipers. Someone's like, I created this physical product that no one had thought of for some reason. Like, and then he sold the idea of windshield wipers, and then it was like, oh, makes like everyone in the world needs this. We're past that. Okay. All the basic needs are covered. Like yes, you can still create physical products. Awesome. But if you're starting a business, I love teaching people how to sell knowledge. You don't have to create a physical product. You just sell your knowledge, your experience. Okay. But the problem is most people start viewing the world from their point of view, like we were talking about, and they just say, I just want to talk about manifestation, just fitness in general. I just want to get people fit, just
Yeah.
lose weight. So bland. If you want to resonate with people, if you want to connect with them, if you want to be paid for your work, you need to find a specific problem.
Yeah.
Don't say, I need to find people who understand what I do. And how do I get people to understand what I do? That's I focus. I. How do I get other people to understand what I do? No, you go understand what other people are struggling with. So if you here, literally, I'm going to give you $1 million business idea. I don't know which one it is yet, though. I already know this is a $1 million business idea. Ask yourself, what is a painful problem that people are looking on Google for? How do I stop blank? How do I blank? How do I get my wife to blank? How do I get my husband to stop blank? How do I figure out how to and just insert something there? How do I stop? Look for a problem like that. And by the way, Google will give you search suggestions. You just start typing in, how do I get my wife to blank? Whatever you insert in the blank right there is a $1 million business idea. Because if Google suggests it, that means at least a million people probably are searching for that. Now, what if you found 100 of those million people and charged not even a crazy fee, let's just say $2,000, to really, really, really help them through that problem, like really solve it for them. Isn't it worth $2,000 to solve a major life problem? You just earned $200,000 if you found 100 people times $2,000, right? You just created a $200,000 business. Do that for 5 years, you have $1 million business. That's 100 people. Okay, so here's like the phrase to remember is look for the people that are looking for help. Instead of saying, how do I get my message out there? How do I get my brand out there? It's not about you getting you out there. Position yourself in front of people who are already looking for help. And I'll give you one last metaphor, and this comes from one of my mentors, and it's a great marketing quote. And it's like a little story. He's like, if you had to sell hot dogs, and maybe you've heard this, Dimi, it's like if you had to sell hot dogs and you had a little hot dog stand, like what one factor would you want for your hot dog stand to make sure you sell out and have the best hot dogs, have the most hot dog sales? What is it? The best hot dogs? Is it lots of people, lots of foot traffic? Is that what you would want? Most people would be like, yeah, both. Okay. What if everyone's vegan though? That was walking by. What if you're like, in somewhere that no one likes hot dogs? What if you're like downtown France and people are like, oh, this weird meat? And they're like, no, we have real French food here. Like, why would I eat a hot dog? So the factor that you would want is a hungry crowd. Outside of football game at 10 p.m., that is what's going to sell out your hot dogs, even if they're really crappy, right? Absolutely. So that means there's a need, there's a pain, there's something of a void to fill that you can help people with, and be ethical with this because you could use this to manipulate. So be cautious with it and make sure you come from empathy and love when you're helping people, because if you find a need to fulfill, and unfortunately, some people are very good at the marketing out there, and then they just sell you a crappy product or a crappy service, right?
Yes.
So do this from love. Find a need to fulfill that already exists. Someone can't find a date. Someone is, beating themselves up after their divorce. Someone needs to lose weight and they can't. Someone who's too unhealthy and has a bad relationship with food, and you can help them with like the eating and the binging, and these are all major problems. And I've seen $1 million businesses in each one of these niches.
Yeah. This is very good, man. And definitely finding a need, finding a problem can really trigger something else in the person, and people we just forget about is because that deep inside all of us we want to be in service. And when you find something painful, something people really struggle with, and you fulfill that, you're gonna be way more committed to do it, because you're not gonna feel like snake oil sailor, right? That's because right. Most people, especially and I can say that for myself as well, I had this, and sometimes it's coming up again for me, this kind of snake oil thing. Yeah. Because deep inside we have the real need of helping and serving people. Yes. And when we identify that we are making money but we are not serving people with something really important, then we don't feel good, and we are not as committed as we would be if we are really see that, wow, I'm helping this person to find a boyfriend or girlfriend, or to have child, or to get married, and they haven't had boyfriend, they're 40 and they now have a boyfriend, they have a great, then all of this, the feeling inside is you're gonna really go and seize the world with that. You're
so right. And it's like again, this is why I love this field. I'm a huge nerd about just like selling information, selling your knowledge, becoming a coach, becoming very profitable. Like, why I love this field is like, it's all based on fulfilling a need for someone and getting paid for it, right? It's a win-win. Like, you can, and by the way, if you're independently wealthy and you just have your inheritance, or you can just like, you don't need to earn money, great. Just go serve people. If you can do that, awesome. For most of us, we're in a job when we start. You're starting out, you're just trying and struggling, and maybe you got your education to like serve people, but now you don't know how to be paid for it or not well paid for it. So it's like, for one, like, give yourself enough love that it's okay to be well paid. It's okay. I'm telling you right now. If no one's told you, it's okay to be well paid for your work. But if you do that in a way that you're fulfilling a real need, that's what gives you the joy to wake up in the morning. Like, oh, cool. Today I get to serve these 3 clients and be well paid for it. You're not even thinking about the money at that point. You're like, I get to help these 3 people and see the smile on their face. How cool is that?
And that's very cool. And also the other side of the coin, I want to say, if you help people and you don't create the income you want, and you feel that, for example, you are starving, or you don't have enough money to pay your bills, or for example, you have a lifestyle, you want to have a lifestyle when you travel a lot and stuff. If you don't fulfill that, you're gonna feel resentment as well. You're gonna not commit yourself. So it's both sides, right? I want to serve them, but I also want to serve myself, so I have the lifestyle I want. So when we have this win-win, then you are totally committed to helping people, because you also create a great life for yourself.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people who are in service industry, myself included, I don't know how it was with you, Jesse, but I had so much resistance at the beginning to be paid, because in my head was, I'm serving people. This is kind of Jesus Christ job, right? I'm going there, I'm helping them, I don't need to be paid. So it's like, and I have heard other people say that as well. People who were served by me, they were seeing it as, but if you go to the shop and you buy something from the shop, are they giving you that for free? No,
exactly.
you pay for that.
And why it's so funny, because this is the industry, and this being the healing, helping, coaching, teaching industry, it's huge, right? In everything from like physical practitioners, holistic doctors, naturopaths, coaches, fitness, all this type of stuff, therapists, counselors. We get into this work not for the money, but we also have this limiting belief of like, money is somehow wrong. Desiring to be well paid is somehow bad. But like, just flip the coin like into a different context. How healthy would it be if you're in a relationship and you're always loving and giving affection, and like, hey, what do you want for dinner? I'm going to go drive there, and I'm going to get your favorite food, and I'm not going to feed myself though. I'm just going to give you the dinner that I just bought that you said is your favorite food. And I'm just going to sit here and drink my water. And then the person's like, oh, I need some love. And you're like, okay, you give them a hug and kiss them and you kiss them, and you're like, you give them the affection they need. And you're like, okay, now I'm going to go sit over here on the couch by myself. Like, if you're always giving in a relationship, it's obviously unhealthy.
No, it's not. The other person knows that, and the other person is okay with that.
And they're not comfortable with it either. It doesn't feel good to the other person. So it's actually a gift to love yourself and love, money's made up basically. Okay.
I love
the goal is not the money. But it is a resource. It is a tool. And so it's like, love yourself enough to accept a high payment. And here's what's cool is like, you can charge. And I know people right now who do this, and I do this with like certain types of clients where I charge many tens of thousands of dollars to help people in a very big way, in a very long-term way. Yep. And I know you can do this as well, Dimi. And it's like, and it's so worth it. And here's what's cool is if you're hearing that, you're like, but what about all the people who can't afford it? They need help too. Awesome. How much easier is it to give if you're making 10, 20K a month? Now you can give. Now you have plenty of time, plenty of money.
Exactly.
Because you loved yourself enough to be well paid. Now you can give back. Now you have extra to just return to the world.
Yeah, and a lot of people who are millionaires, billionaires and stuff, they do that. They have created that for themselves, and they also help people. They're like